had an easy week with less drama, more positive vibes? Welcome, welcome. I'm happy that all of you are giving me support on this journey. Before I go on, please share, follow, and tell your friends about my podcast, and this really, really helps me grow. Thank you. Today, I'll start with the issue of mental pain. Mental pain is less dramatic than physical pain, but it is more common and also more harder to bear. The frequent attempt to conceal mental pain increases the burden. It is easier to say my tooth is aching than to say my heart is broken. A recap on my 9th episode. I confronted my nanny on why she did what she did to my daughter and exposing her to the stuff she was exposing her to. She was remorseful, but I was mad. I was really mad at myself. I was really mad at the world. At the end of it, I eventually had to let her go. I was really down and in pain. But yet again, I kept it. This episode, I call it the temporary solution. This 10th episode, it's a temporary solution because I had to make a drastic decision and very fast decision because I was really depressed and heavily medicated, but I had to soldier on. I could not fall at the moment. My kids needed me more. We were all suffering really bad. I felt like no one was helping, which it was the truth. It was just really, really hard for me. Even asking a friend just to take my kids to church on Sundays was an issue. I just could not ask no one no more. I was sick and tired and giving up quietly, but I pretended to be strong. I felt like my world was crumbling. How could a mother just do this to her own children? I kept on asking myself. I was trying my level best to give my kids the best. The father had already gone. It was only me. I thought of going back to my country, but the thought of starting afresh from ground zero was really hard for me. I prayed, I really did. I fasted, asking God for solutions. What if I go back? How will it be? Something kept on telling me, soldier on. Something kept on telling me, go back. My mind was fighting. I had fights. I had conversations. I had meetings on my own. I had talked to myself to ask myself, what's the next step? Eventually, I said, I will soldier on. I will keep on fighting. I will follow this dream. I will make it happen for my children. So I dialed the number of my day back again, who had already let me down. I did call her because I had known her for years, very many years. When I was a teenager, that's when I knew her. So I felt like I can call her again. But I did not want her anymore. Then I thought about it again and I said, I will start afresh with new people who don't know my story, who don't know my children's stories. I just pretended I was just saying hi, how she was doing. So I never let her back again. So I asked my friend, because now my kids were alone. And I honestly, I was confused. I didn't know what the next step held or hold for me and my children. So I asked my friend if my kids can temporarily move. No, in fact, it was my friend who suggested that the kids to temporarily move at his house, his mother's house. So because I had no other solution, he had given me a solution, a temporary solution. So the first, because he was going through a divorce, and the mom had passed on like months prior. So the first thing I asked him, please talk to your sister and your brother about this move first, because this is your mom's house and you're the one who's left in charge at the moment, and I don't want issues. So he assured me that the sister was fine, but the older brother is the one who might have an issue. But he still assured me he will talk to him. Well, I later came to realize he never did, because the brother told me that he was never consulted. So there was a misunderstanding. But at first, I did not know. I just knew through the brother that he was never consulted at all. And so we started our short stay, which happened to be a few months. And this stay, I was, because my kids were being hosted, my house was locked down, I was basically doing everything in that house. I was paying all the bills, let me say, like paying for the trash, paying for electricity, paying for water bills sometimes. For the water bills, it was sometimes. And food, I was buying food. I was paying, like basically anything that was needed in that house, it was all on me, because I was being helped. This guy had taken in my children when I was like desperately in need. So I took charge of everything. Whenever he used his money, I used to refund him, because he had helped me a lot. I had 2 small businesses which he was helping me also to oversee how it was going. He used to pass by in the evenings and check the accountings, the balancings and all that, and make sure that my money is deposited in the bank. So he was helping me at that. Whenever he needed something, I used to sort him out. He could borrow me cash, I used to sort him out. There was no paying back. That was just a thank you. So all was working perfectly well. And due to his job, he suggested that because he was coming late sometimes, because now my kids were alone, he could prepare the kids in the morning, make sure they go to school, and then he could go to his job. Because when my youngest son was leaving, he was like heading out also. He was going to his job. So, but sometimes he used to come late in the evenings. So it was kind of difficult. So he again suggested another cousin of his, so who can be coming twice a week to cook. So the cousin was coming Wednesdays and Saturdays. So this was working perfectly well. So she was only coming to cook food for the whole week on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So it was working well. So we had to hire another lady, a day bag, who used to come. There's these women who sit outside the estates, waiting for jobs to be called to come clean up a house. So we spotted one and we took her in, and she used to come every Saturdays to do deep clean, like really, really deep clean. She would wash the curtains, wash the beddings, like do laundry, and then clean up the house, arrange the cupboards. Like she used to do the major deep clean. Sometimes we used to take 2 of them, even though the house wasn't dirty because the kids were in school the whole week. But I used to like try my level best to maintain that house to be spotless. So this went well. And my friend used to even, before he leaves, he used to lay some clothes for my son to change when he comes from school. So it was really easy, because my daughter used to come back at 6. So this cycle went on and on for months. And I could call my son when my son comes back at 4:30. Like we used to do homework together via video. When he's done with his homework, he used to have his house keys, so he used to lock the gate, and leave and go play and come back at around 6 p.m. when my daughter comes. So, and when my daughter used to come in, we used to make sure, I was on video at this time also, we used to make sure my son goes, showers first while my daughter is warming his food. So once my son is done showering, my daughter will serve him his dinner. And then while he's eating his dinner, my daughter will go to the bathroom, shower, then come eat his dinner, and then we do homework together while my son is going to bed. So this cycle went on and on because, my friend sometimes he used to come early and sometimes he used to come late, maybe 9, 10 p.m. And most of the time he used to find the kids asleep. So, which is okay with me because we had already set up ourselves very well. He had his own keys, so whenever he used to come late, he could just open the gate and sleep. So this arrangement did not work out well with the cousin now because there was a disagreement. Because I used to pay the cousin when she comes to cook, and I used to pay this day bag when she comes to clean the house. So I don't know what really happened. They disagreed, but she still kept on coming, but there were disagreements. She kept on coming. There were just slight issues which were happening behind my back without my knowledge. This was family, and me, I was being helped. And things started changing, because my friend, now he was single. So he kind of proposed a relationship with me because he thought it would be nice. Because if he had the kids, in his mind, what I came to realize why he decided to propose a relationship with me, he knew I was weak. He knew my weakness was my children. So he decided to play his game and propose a relationship with me. But to me, I wasn't into him. I wasn't into any relationship. My biggest aim was my children. And I falsely accepted because he knew my weakness. And I decided, okay, let me play this game. I wasn't into him at all. Never had feelings for him. This guy was just like a brother to me. I was just like an older sister to him. But in a way, I was also gaining. He was helping my kids. He wanted money from me, which I was so adamant not giving, but doing normal house budget. I bought him stuff, gave him money when he asked. I saw him like he was just a brother, a kid bro to me. I could not be his woman. Never. It was never even in my mind, but I played his game because he thought he would gain money from me. I did stuff for him. I really did. But he also was playing a game. He was playing a game. He knew this woman, she has money. So she thought she would gain. He kept on asking money. He was getting mad, He had his car payments. He wasn't able, and he was working, and I don't want to reveal much about his source of income, but he had a source of income, but he wanted my money. He was very good with the children, very, very good. He really played it well. He really laid it down well, and I kept my cool. I acted like the would-be girlfriend that he wanted. I did my part also well. And things started out changing. The guy was very honest. He had my heart with his honesty, the way he was taking care of my children. He helped my family a lot. He even involved, because my family knew them, so he helped my family with lots of big projects like purchasing land, even going all the way to our village, helping my dad to purchase land. And he did a very huge project to renovate our house. It was a major project, and bought everything in that house. He was the kind of man you would want your kids to be with. in your life? Well, he was single now and very close to my kids. and took all his time to take care of my children. I trusted him. My children did, especially my son. He was very, very close to him. He even went to that level to try and reconcile my kids with their father. He even took them to the village to see him. My children felt really sad the time they saw their dad, but regardless, they were happy. Like I told you, he helped me run my business. He was there. He did everything. And it came a point where his boss laid him off for a few months, but he still had some source of income. That's why I'm insisting. I cannot go into his income details, but he still had some money, but he wanted my money. So he kept on getting mad at me all the time, but I knew it. I had already read his mind that he was after cash. I mean, this guy was flawless. Like, he was a godsend until I realized he expected me to be paying for his car loan because there's a time he had delayed paying his car. And he wanted me to be paying off his car, and he kept on getting mad when I don't give him the cash he wanted. He was just mad, So me, I wasn't budging in. Mine was the kids. I'm paying the bills. I'm paying all this. I'm paying for your trips. I'm paying for your maybe shoes. I bought him shoes. I bought him stuff. His birthdays. I used to do his birthdays very well, I was appreciative. I was appreciative. But I never had even a single feeling for him. But I kept it going. But little did I know, he was talking ill of me. But the good thing, I had nothing to do with all that he was saying, because it was just all about the money. He wanted the money, so I wasn't bothered. I did everything right. I could even pay like anything he requested. There's stuff I used to do. He was talking, lying, and I was giving him everything. And can you imagine, he wanted me to be in a relationship with him, that he assumed I was in a relationship with him. He goes ahead and says, I was supposed to be paying him every month. He requested, he's the one who suggested, temporarily give me your kids. But behind his back, he wanted me to be paying him monthly. I took care of all the bills in that house. So according to me, I thought I was doing what is supposed to be done. And I knew he was employed. I knew he was getting some other source of income somewhere. So it came about when he was talking behind me. I was supposed to be paying him every month for staying with my kids. But still, imagine I'm paying him, and at the same time, I was still doing everything in the house. Like paying the bills, doing everything else. Even if he took my son to the barber shop, I would ask him, how much did you use? And I will refund him even triple the amount he used at the barber shop. When my daughter went to the hair salon to make her hair, I used to ask him, how much did you pay? He will tell me, and I will pay triple whatever my daughter even used at the hair salon, just as an appreciation. I was doing all this for him not to feel tired, because I was like waiting for my parents to go back home and take my children, So that was my goal, because I had already knew my parents are going back home. So that was my solution. So him was just temporarily staying with my children until my parents come. So I came to realize I was supposed to be paying him. Staying with my children, I was supposed to be giving him like a monthly salary. I was shocked and appalled, This was a family. This was a family. I was shocked. But what can you do at this particular moment when tables turn? So let me go back. After he lost his job, he started hustling, which was not easy. And they had a van. So I had told him to look for a job, but he was so adamant. He knew this woman has money. I had a van. This van, it was supposed to do business like maybe tours, whatever, but he wasn't pushing to look for a job for this van. The van kept on just staying just there outside the gate. This van was like a 10-seater van, which can transport people. It can do like several kinds of jobs, but he wasn't interested in that. The van was just outside there. So I was wondering. I had a business, but the business never did well. So I came about and I shut it down. So the van was just there, but it was just seated outside there. It was doing nothing, absolutely nothing. Something that could be gaining in cash. So one day, when I told you, if you remember back, I told you he bought a piece of land for my dad. I was the one sending the money, but to get that piece of land. So my dad was interested in that piece of land in the village. So we paid some amount and then he remained with the balance that when my dad jets in the country, he was supposed to go pay it off. But little did we know he had already used this money. And he never told me. So he was so angry. Then at the end, in the process, he had already gotten a girlfriend. Because it's like he came and found out that she's tough. She ain't gonna give me no money. So she ended up and she got a girlfriend. So the girlfriend was already in that house. And I was worried because my children were in that house. We've already brought another woman in that house. And I didn't know how it's gonna go down. So he never told me there was a woman in the house. My kids are the ones who told me there was a woman in the house. Me, I was even happy for him, by the way. I was really, really happy, excited for him because I knew, finally, he won't be bugging me with this relationship stuff. So I was kind of happy for him. But he was hiding it from me. I think he wanted to hit two birds with one stone. But it never worked because mine was like, I was out. I was really, really, really out, way out. I had just zero feelings. So, at the balance he had used the money. He had used the money, my dad's money. He had used it. So he kept quiet and he started pretending that he was sick, blah, blah, blah. And he wasn't talking to me at this time now. He had become like cold towards me because I think he had another woman. But he talked to me only when on convenience, when he needed to. So this woman was taking care of him while he was sick. So me, I was just like, my kids told me, and it didn't even bother me a bit. So he used this money. So one day he just called me and he told me he has something he wants to tell me. It's been bothering him. I guess that's what it was making him sick. So I came to realize this sickness was just fake. He was pretending to be sick, So that's how I added it up, because this is when he had used my dad's money with this woman in a hotel, a rendezvous in a hotel, and spent it. So when he came to me, he thought I was a fool. He just told me that he took this money, and then there's a friend of his who had proposed a business, like a tender business, and he gave him all the money. He gave this dude all the money. So he stupidly thought that I believed him, but I just said, oh, okay. Then I told him, then you gotta tell my dad what really happened, because he's expecting to finish that land. Because my dad kept on calling him, he kept on taking my dad rounds and rounds, and this is where he started pretending he was sick. So he kept on taking my dad rounds and rounds. And my dad eventually called me and asked me about him, that he's not sometimes picking his calls, blah, 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 is he sick? My dad was worried, but my dad started suspecting. So my dad just kept it cool. It was really crazy because he made my dad stay in the village for like 4 weeks waiting for this money without even telling him the truth. So eventually, he told my dad the same story he told me about the tender, and then he cried. He really had crocodile tears. He cried, and my dad told him, no, just take your time. whenever you get that money, you will pay me back. You pay me back even if it's in small bits, in small parts. But it was never to happen. He came back to me and started shouting at me and demanding an authority, like telling me, I know you have the money, you can get me out of this hole. I was like, was I with you when you were using my father's money? I wasn't with you. You did not even tell me when or how you spent this money. You never even told me nothing. I'm coming to realize after you're lying to me that you were conned, but you used this money with a woman. So he started being so aggressive towards me and telling me I should pay him. You have that money, like coming authoritatively and then like demeaning me, like you have that money, you can pay it. I'm like, what? You're the one who used the money. It's not me who used the money. So I decided to involve the sister and the brother and told them what was going on. And then they were all surprised, but they told me they will talk to him. So eventually they talked to him and they asked him how he spent the money. And I don't know what he told them because I really don't know what he said. But I came to realize at this particular moment, he got back his job with the previous manager. And I came to realize the manager advised him not to pay me back. That I'm just an old woman. What was I even thinking doing with her? I'm a woman with children. What were you thinking? They really demeaned me. But I came to find out everything, Some things, if you're a woman of God and you're a fake person who pretends to be praying like 5-6 times a day, I'm telling you, God will really open my good eyes. And afterwards, I became just quiet. And remember the cousin who used to come and cook? She eventually stopped coming. So my kids were still at that house. And he was pretending. Now he was away. He wasn't living now there. So we had to bring... It's really, really sad how things turned out. It was really, really, really sad. Issues started happening one-on-one. He said stuff that I'm still trying to figure out what I really did the 9 months he stayed with the children. I'm still trying to figure out how I was to pay him. How I was to pay his car payment. How I was to be paying him every month. Was it just because I was abroad that he thought that I had money? Y'all, I saw the world in black and white, in a friend, in a family, instead of the vibrant colors and shades I knew existed with this person. Y'all, if you like the show, please consider leaving a review. This helps my podcast to grow. Then hit the follow button. And if you have questions, kindly send me an email at achoch@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and I appreciate you for tuning in and taking time to listen to my story. Please share, follow wherever you're listening to, at any podcast, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Google Podcast. Coming up to Parents Guilty Conscious on my CK Diaries is season 2. Thank you. Bye-bye.